Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know I haven't posted in a while. It's been some time, but don't want to just post random stuff just to post. I wanted to post stuff that might be relevant and actually enjoyable to watch. And today it's going to be more about the Jeep. I want to clean up my bead locks. As you can see, the Jeep's all kind of like, it's hard to tell. Let's see. Anyways, it's all matte. It all got wet sanded down. It's getting some nice love given finally. And then today we're gonna cover, I'm taking all the bead rings off and sanding them down. Hopefully gonna get some of the scratches out. It's not so bad, it's more surface level. Yes, there are a few that are like a little thicker and more in, but I'm not too concerned. It's a Jeep after all, that wheels. And we're gonna hopefully cover them up with this guy. I need to cover 5 bead rings, so we'll get right to it and I'll start the process. We'll take one apart, try one. If I like it, all goes well, we'll go on with the others. So as you can see, like this stuff all right here isn't too bad. There is a little bit of like deeper stuff here where I got in some good rocks, but the rest of it's all, I'm assuming, gonna come out pretty easy. It's gonna look nice. Geez, that helicopter's pretty loud. Now that you guys can hear me with no chopper. So as I was saying, I only have one that's pretty chunky, pretty beat up, and it's currently on the Jeep. So that may turn into being my spare. And then these guys are all, I think, pretty well. Pretty and still in great shape. You know, there's no structural damage, nothing that messes with integrity besides, you know, just cosmetic stuff. So clean him up, paint him. I went with this Rust-Oleum. Talked to a buddy who's a painter. He recommended getting something that's not crazy. He's like, look, you have paint on him. You just sand it down a bit, spray over, and, you know, this should last you for a bit as well. So let's begin. So there's a few ways I've seen this done, mainly 2 ways, and I'm gonna go with the second way. A friend of mine who also has bead locks went ahead and just zapped all these out with the tire fully inflated, and it works. I've done it once as well. It seeps a ton of air and it goes. The only issue is he loosened enough of them out to where the air pressure seeped and it popped a couple of these. So he had to drill him, easy out, all that. Don't want to do that. I've had to do that before. It sucks when I've stripped one and just broke off. So what I'm going to do is just deflate it, pull the valve stem out, and let the air come out that way. And then I can start unzipping him. And the best thing is, once I loosen this guy and the little internal valve is out, I'm just gonna power zip him out all the way around. It'll be quick, and then obviously retorque him down by hand and apply I probably will, some anti-seize in all these, just because of the conditions. It always sees mud, all sorts of water and crap. So I want these to be easily serviceable and not constant headache when you have to take them off. Here's a quick thing I just ran into. So quick tip for whoever has bead locks and mounts them at home. You know that sometimes getting this ring, that bead, the rubber ring on here, sucks. And the mistake I just made on this tire is I pulled out the valve stem, and as it was just, you know, seeping air slowly, I started buzzing these out. And when I did, the bead blew, so half of it came undone, and it sucks. It's a pain to try to, you know, get it on. People use rubber mallets and all sorts of techniques. So what I did is I kind of left it on, and then I took, you know, this little pry bar and big screwdriver, and I would wedge it into the part, pull it back, get the screwdriver going the next spot, and kind of walk its way around, and then it just pops back in. You know, it's been on for, 2 years, so it has decent memory, but still it could get away from you real quick, and you're then chasing it, and you have to take it all apart and do that. So just save yourself some hassle and don't buzz these all out real quick. Let the air come out so there's not a lot of pressure. Then you can buzz them out slowly as it all lifts a little and gets the air out. What I did is I undid about a quarter of it as this was seeping, and it just blew out, and then it just started chasing it around. So save yourself the hassle. I should have brought this up earlier, but it's nice to put a bucket, like a 5-gallon bucket, wash bucket, whatever, under the wheel, so then when you're taking everything off, just the natural weight of the tire sags down and keeps this all on the wheel, and it doesn't want to pop off, so you're not struggling as much. All right, so got the bead ring off. I put the hardware back in and threaded it in because I do run a spacer, as you can see right there, this little guy. It's something that not all beadlocks need, but the Method 105s do, especially if you're running a certain size tire. 35s I didn't, on the 39s I do. Here is my bead ring. Not bad. I'm gonna give it a quick once over with some 180 grit, throw some acetone on it, and then start spraying. All right, so sanded them down, applied some acetone, just to degrease it, clean it. And I'm not looking to take down everything. I'm looking to create small enough scratches that clean up the main stuff, but still have, enough for the paint to adhere to get a good bite, especially like on the inside of those rings and all that area. It doesn't need much, just a nice little brush through. I was using the 180 grit right here and a little light pressure, and there you go. Next, we're gonna spray it, let it cure or set for however long it needs, and then we'll come back, take a final. All right, so this will be our first layer I'm gonna apply. I closed the garage door. It's a little windy, and I don't want the wind coming in and spraying, getting all this paint blown around on my yellow, especially on the yellow Jeep if it goes that way. So I just set up a quick light here at the tripod camera, and what I'll do is apply it, get a thin layer going, and then open the garage up for some ventilation. And then if I have to spray again, I can always close it, kind of go from there. But for now, I'll just start giving it a nice top coat. Not too worried about full coverage right now. I'll kind of walk around and do the sides. And then obviously the inner ring. And then let it sit. I think the can says, what does the can say? That it dries, it's like 10 minutes or something. It's actually pretty short. Yeah. Anyways, I'll read into it right now, but pop the garage door open, let this go. If anyone's wondering, these holes in here where the hardware goes, I didn't bother sanding or cleaning just because the hardware covers it up pretty well. There's no scratches in it, nothing. So I figured I'll just leave it alone. My main concern was the outer appearance of the whole thing. So this is 2 coats in. First one was a nice one just to pepper the whole thing all around. And then the second one was a wet coat, what they recommended to do. It's looking pretty good. I like the coverage. I think I used almost half a can on this one, which is a little concerning. I don't know if I'm going too thick on it or if that's just, you know, what I'll need. It is pretty glossy right now. It's supposed to be a matte black, so once it dries, I'm hoping for that nice matte finish. But overall, I am very pleased. So I figured as I'm waiting for this to dry, 10-minute dry to touch, 30-minute full dry. I'm gonna let it sit its 30 minutes. I'm in no rush. What I'll do is I'll start then taking, I thought of just removing, jacking the Jeep up, removing the beads, popping them off, or sorry, the bead lock, all the hardware, popping it off, and then just doing it in air. The issue with that is I have a feeling the tire's gonna droop, and then I'm gonna have to struggle trying to put it back on and seal it properly. Then the spacers are gonna wanna pop off. So I'm just gonna take the 5 lugs off, drop the tire flat, and then be able to do everything that way and not struggle. While we're here, here's the back, one of the back ones. This is the passenger side, you know, pretty bad. This guy is not too bad, at least in my mind. Someone might look at this and have a freak out moment. And then as we get here, this one, I think if anything, this is probably the worst one because I had a rock come right through here that it actually hit the hardware pretty bad that I ended up replacing this one guy. But other than that, I'm okay with it. And then finally, this last one, I'll probably just show you guys the final. Like I was saying, I'll probably just end up painting all 5 of them, reassembling everything, putting it all back on with the Jeep, so that way you don't have to watch me struggle with this. And it's kind of a lengthy process if you want to do it somewhat right and, you know, not rush it, not get crazy stains or drips and whatever. So yeah. So here's the first completed wheel. I think it looks pretty great. Came out probably better than I expected. Torqued all the hardware back down. And what I do is after I torque him down, I just mark him with like a paint marker all up and down. So that way, if one gets loose or something funny's going on, I can easily identify it. And then obviously after the first 50 miles, I'll check it one more time. And then after 200 is the next recommended cycle. And then after that, I don't even bother checking them. I've actually gone, I know I did all of Moab in like a year of just cruising around, never had any issues. Check them just to be safe, nothing. So once you're torqued past the 200 mark, you're good, 200 miles. Other than that, that one's drying. I might hit it one more time and then just slowly move on. What I forgot to mention was the torque spec. I'm torquing these down to 20 pounds. I did use anti-seize on them. There's a different torque spec depending on the size of your wheel, and also if you're using anti-seize or not. Mine's a 17-inch with anti-seize. My torque has to be set from 17 to 23 foot-pounds of torque. I went down the middle and set it at 20, and then I'll just recheck it when it's time. All right, guys. So all of them are done. just wrapping up my spare, but I figured I'll show you the final product on the Jeep. They all look pretty decent. I would say there are spots where I had bare aluminum. Like, you see how that's pretty rough right there? That's all bare aluminum under it. And I didn't use an etching primer or an aluminum primer. If I was to do it again, I would. Yes, it will take a lot longer, but it will definitely help. Like, this one also has some bubbling up top right here. You know, it doesn't look the prettiest. It did cover up all the defects, but if you want it flawless, like pristine, I suggest grind it down, sand it down, etch it, use some etching primer or an aluminum primer, and then go from there. But guys, thanks for staying with me on this one. And here we are. It's done. It's going to look great. Honestly, for me, I think this is more than enough. I'm pretty happy with the results. So, yeah, I'll wrap this up, move on to the vet, do some stuff with that, do some detailing, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.